Hello, viewers. Welcome back to Vibing with Mr. Marvelous. Today we have a very special guest. We have Carla. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Fantastic. So Carla is a executive director for the IT department for a Fortune 10 company. But before we get to the juicy meat and potato of what Carla does and how she's a great leader in the area, let's find out some fun facts about St. Lucia. So for the viewers, welcome back. Thank you all for coming back. How many times did the French and the British fought over St. Lucia? So as you know, St. Lucia was once owned or controlled by England and France, and there was a war back and forth. How many times did the British and the French fought over St. Lucia? All right, let's get on to our main guest, Carla. Carla, how you feeling?
I'm feeling good. I'm feeling great.
How was your day?
It was good. It was a good day. Busy day, but busy's good.
Busy's always good.
Yeah.
Keeps you out of trouble.
Sometimes.
So tell the viewers about you and your history, background, where you're coming from, and your education journey.
Sure. Well, first of all, thanks for having me. I'm so excited to be here and to share my story with your audience. So, like Prince said, my name is Carla. I was actually born in Argentina, and I lived there until I was about 7 years old. And that's when my parents decided to leave and move to Barbados. My mother's side of the family was already there. They're
Okay.
originally from Trinidad and Tobago, but they had already moved over to Barbados, and my parents thought they could make a better life there. And so I moved to Barbados when I was 7 years old, and that's where I grew up. That's where I had my education. So I consider myself a full-fledged Bajan, though I was super excited when
Bajan in the house, all the Caribbean people.
But I was super excited when Argentina won the World Cup because that's still in my heart. So
Congratulations.
thank you.
That was a big win.
That was a huge win. World Cup champions.
Yes.
So I moved to Barbados when I was 7, and that's where I grew up. That's where I'm from. And in my early 20s, I actually had a really good opportunity that was given to me by the company that I worked for, and they asked me and a few other people at work if we wanted to travel abroad for a 2-week training program.
Excellent.
And it was a lot of fun. And halfway through that training program, they said, "Hey, we think you do really well here. Would you like to move up here and for a job opportunity?" And it took some convincing, but I decided to take the leap, and I accepted a job offer up in New Jersey in the U.S. And I was there for quite some time. I got married when I was up there, had 2 beautiful daughters.
Excellent.
I'm so proud of them. And around 2012, I moved to Florida. So I've made my way around the world. I was fortunate enough to experience so many different cultures.
Fantastic. So the same company you with gave you an intern for 2 weeks, and they're very impressed with your work, and you still in that company today.
Yes. No. Different company.
Okay, different company.
I switched
Okay.
companies, and actually it was a training opportunity.
Okay.
And it was a consulting gig. So basically what I did is I did consulting work for a company. It was a healthcare company.
Okay.
And after a few months, that healthcare company wanted me to become an employee. And so I switched and became a permanent employee. And then I was there until about 2012. And then I switched companies.
Fantastic. And I guess growing up, were you always into computers or IT or programming?
Yeah. Actually, no, I wasn't.
Okay.
When I finished my CXEs, I really didn't know what I wanted to do.
So just 1 second. So the viewers, CXCs, it's like graduated from high school.
Yes.
So that's the Caribbean equivalent to
High school graduation.
high school graduation. It's called CXC,
Yeah.
Caribbean Examination Council.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So when I left high school, I really didn't know what I wanted to do, but I thought going to a community college was right for me.
Okay.
And so I went over to Barbados Community College, and that's where I decided to do an associate's degree in computer science. And I enjoyed it. I thought it was fun. It was a 2-year diploma. And after that, I decided to continue to pursue a bachelor's degree at UWI, University of the West Indies, Barbados campus.
Fantastic.
Yep. So I got my major in computer science and my minor in physics, and everything just kind of went from there. Right after I graduated, I got a job in IT and with an offshore company in Barbados, and that's actually the company that took me to my training program in the US and offered me the position.
Brilliant. Congrats. So growing up, there was no idea IT. You know how kids are, oh, I want to be a pilot or doctor. Or,
No.
What did you, just curious, what did you see yourself, if you ever thought about your future?
Yeah, I had no idea.
You just
quite honestly.
enjoying, okay.
I knew what I didn't want to do.
Okay.
I didn't want to do science,
Okay.
which is ironic because I ended up with a minor in physics. But I didn't want to do science, and I didn't want to do my A levels. A levels is the advanced levels. I guess it's a British system for testing.
Yes.
So I knew what I didn't want to do, and I knew where I wanted to go. And I think from there, that's where I was influenced to do computer science, but no background in it whatsoever.
Fantastic.
And it was an emerging field, so it was kind of exciting for me to do.
Okay. Viewers, back to you on the question. 5 minutes is up. So the answer to the question of how many times the British and the French fought over St. Lucia, it was 14 times. So 7 times French, 7 times British. And I guess England finally won the last battle, so England finally controls St. Lucia. But St. Lucia is independent since 1979. So now the country, the island, is independent since 1979. And to ask you a question. Any questions you could type in? I could see y'all if you want to ask any questions as we get to know how Carla leadership influence and impact the people around her and the future. So IT is always, or back in the day, or middle age, you might tell me, enlighten me, a male dominant world. Like IT was known for guys who were the IT engineers. Is that still dominant today, or is it changing? Like, what do you think?
Yeah, well, you're correct.
Okay.
It generally is a male-dominated field, but I do see that it is changing, and for the better, for the positive. Working in a corporate environment, these corporate companies are realizing that diversity and inclusion is very important. And it's not just diversity of gender, but it's ethnicity, race, age. Because really what you're trying to do is get diversity of thought, right? When you have diversity of thought, you bring different ideas, different points of view to your customers and your audience, which is a very diverse customer set, right? And so, lucky enough, companies are realizing that we need to diversify, we need to be inclusive. And with that, they're being mindful of extending this within the workplace, especially in leadership. And I'm very fortunate to work for a company who is very mindful and purposeful in this mission, especially with women in technology.
Fantastic.
Yeah. And when I first started, there weren't that many women. Luckily, my first manager was a woman. And so I took a lot of lead and example from her.
Okay.
But it is changing because we understand that it's important, right? And different points of view are always important and always welcome. So I'm actually really proud to say that I am the executive sponsor for a program in my company.
Brilliant. Tell us about the program.
Yeah, so it's a digital engineering program. And basically the intent or the idea there is to support people, anybody, male, female, in transitioning their role from like an individual contributor, so an engineer or developer who is just, doing code development, to people management, so transitioning their career path. And we've built this program in such a way that it teaches you basic things that, quite frankly, nobody ever taught me when I switched over to management. Right? So leading through ambiguity and change, delegation, performance reviews, etc., which you learn over time, but gives you a leg up if you attend a program that teaches you how to do these things.
Definitely.
It's not an intuitive thing, right? I mean, going from dealing with just a computer to managing people's careers is a significant leap. But what I'm super proud of is that the first cohort is all female. It's an all female cohort. And so it's 8 really talented, high performing, high potential ladies
Right.
who have gone through this program, and hopefully, at the end of it, when they graduate, they are part of the IT management team. They're part of a leadership team. And we are hoping to continue this program. Like I said, it's not just for women. The idea is, to support people in transitioning careers. We're being mindful of the fact that there is a gap and there's a lot of opportunity for women in leadership, especially in IT. So it's great because, we're seeing the progress. Right?
Love it. And those candidates are selected within the company, outside, or from schools, colleges?
Yes, they're all within the company.
Okay.
They're high performing, high potential individual women who are actually interested in managing people's careers and doing people management and growing organizations. Not everybody wants to do that, and so they're selected from within my organization.
Brilliant. And being executive, do you all have interns like you did coming in? Like,
we do. We do have internship programs, and we go to colleges and we recruit, and we have interns, and we also have graduate programs. So people who graduate from university and are looking for their first step into the IT world, there are specific programs that are catered and targeted towards them.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
And overall, being a leadership role, how's quality of staff, and is it great out there? Because I know some companies are hurting.
Yeah, it changes.
It changes.
Right? With the climate, with how things are going out in the corporate world.
Right.
There's a lot of talented individuals out there, a lot of talented people who want to get into IT. Sometimes it's a competitive market.
So it is competitive because some companies are finding it hard to get employees.
Yeah.
And some are flooded, like, no thank you, we have enough.
This is the thing with IT, right? Like it's a very broad spectrum of what you can or can't do, right? It's networking, it's infrastructure, it also depends a lot on the talent that you're trying to source and what role you're trying to fill. But like I said, the market goes up and down, and so sometimes you might be looking for somebody for months, and somebody you just fill a position within weeks. So it ebbs and flows.
Fantastic. And what's your main role as an executive, and exactly what type of IT specialty that you into?
Yeah. So I deal with, first of all, I'm in healthcare. I'm in the healthcare space.
Okay.
So I've always been in the healthcare space.
Thank you. Keeping us healthy.
Trying. It's actually something that is it's important for everybody, right? And I'm pretty passionate about delivering quality healthcare and tools that help us.
Right.
Access, not just access our healthcare information, but also be able to manage it. So my area, the organization that I manage, is focused on building tools that actually allow you to manage your healthcare for yourself and for your family and your dependents. And so that means surfacing your healthcare records, any information you have on provider visits, when you've gone to your doctor or your nurse practitioner, you want to see that post-visit summary, what you've done, what's been prescribed to you. But beyond that, like, we also try to be, innovative, right? How can we surface up, based on your history, what's best for you next step? So your best next actions based on what you've done, your doctor visits, and the information that we have. So my role really in that space, and by the way, this is all for digital tools. So your phone or your website, it's all for digital channels that I support. And I just basically manage a very talented, high-performing team of software engineers that develop these products. And my role is to grow the organization, grow the teams, mentor the teams, and guide them. And basically, as a leader, just get out of their way and let them do their work, right? Just to make the space for them to be successful.
Like the backup, just there, just in case they need you help.
Well, I clear the barriers for them. And so if they're dependent on somebody else to deliver something, or they're waiting for something and it's holding them back, I'm there to support and fight for them and see how I can get that for them. And I'm also there to support their career path and their growth, right? And to nurture that and to guide them in the right direction.
Fantastic. Back in the day, the mentality of an executive person was it's hard to have a normal life, be married, have kids. As an executive, have you seen that change where there's a good work balance, like even though you could juggle the husband, the kids, and social life, and
Yeah. Well, luckily, I have a really, really supportive husband.
okay,
And so having a supportive partner in whatever you do is just helps leaps and bounds, right? It goes really beyond. He's also in the IT space.
fantastic,
So he gets it, he understands. And it's not easy sometimes, right, to keep it balanced. And it's never a 50-50. It's always maybe a 30-70 one way or the other, or a 60-40. But what I found is like you kind of need to prioritize and set your priorities. And so I learned very early on that my daughters are a priority and certain things for them, their events, their schooling, etc. Super important.
absolutely.
And so
And work understands that.
Yeah, I'm again blessed enough that I have a leadership team that supports that. And so it just means that maybe I leave a little bit early to do what I need to do, and then I come back and I do my work at night. And that's also a benefit of IT, right? At the end of the day, it's you, it's your computer, and your meetings. And so, it's difficult. It gets easier as you gain experience.
Fantastic.
But you make it happen.
Brilliant. What have you seen? Like, what are the two challenging tasks at work? Like, because every job has opportunities, I call them, things we could work on, things could be better.
Yeah.
Well, maybe like two things you're like, man, we could work on that better.
We could work on a lot of things better.
Correct, but you can look like 100 things, but just two main.
Yeah. So one of the things that's always challenging, and we try to work around, is competing priorities.
Okay.
There's just a lot of work, which is good news, but there's a lot of work that your stakeholders, your partners, that they want you to deliver for them. But there's also a lot of work that you want to do in terms of modernization, right? And making sure that your IT systems, that your core systems continue to be improved and enhanced. And, you want to ensure that there's stability. So there's always that challenge of, where do we set our focus? What do we set our sights on? And so there's a constant reevaluation with business, with your IT partners to say, okay, does this experience deserve our time, right? Is this an experience that matters most to our customers, that's going to deliver more for the business at the end of the day? And so, that tends to be a challenge. That's something that it's okay. We tend to work towards it or work through it.
Absolutely.
But that's a tough one to deal with because it's ever changing, and we're agile, right? That's the point. We're supposed to, adapt to change and requirements.
That's a keyword, adapt, because you never know. Life is always constant, and
yeah. Well, when COVID happened,
very true,
right? As a healthcare company, that was very impactful to my teams, to me, to the company, to us as humans, right? As colleagues. And there were a lot of unknowns there, and there was a lot of reshuffling at that time, and a lot of hard work to get systems out there in place to support COVID testing, immunizations, and there's lots of regulations. So yeah, we have to always just be ready to go. Right?
Fantastic.
Yeah.
And as a leader, how do you deal with like two team members are not working together? What kind of leadership skills do you use to diffuse or problem solving skills? Like, how do you go around that?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, the thing about high performing teams is that they have different personalities and they have very strong points of view. And so you do often get into conflicts where two individuals just don't agree with either an approach or just personalities that just they clash. And I think the important thing there is to remove yourself from the situation and just really be objective and listen. A lot of the times
take notes, viewers.
Well, a lot of the times what people say is the problem is really not the problem. And what you do need to do is talk to them individually, but then also bring them together and have a conversation and mediate, right? And really listen to what each person is saying and translate that for the other, and try to work past it, right? And realize that it's okay to have difference of opinion. That will happen. You just need to figure out how to get past it and how to work together at the end of the day to deliver for your customers, because that's why you're there. And there are some times where, there's conflict that's significant enough that you just have to make decisions like move people around, right? That's okay. People aren't stagnant. And so yeah, it's really just a matter of listening, communicating, being objective, taking a step back, and giving the best advice that you can give. Ultimately, it's always up to the individual to do the right thing, right?
Very true. Being an adult, doing the right thing.
Yeah.
And you mentioned earlier about COVID and the way you had to transition the way we do things. Were you always in an office? Because IT, you could be anywhere in the world.
Yeah.
You don't need an office really, but is your team, do you have an office or your guys in the world?
So we have several offices across the US, but during COVID, everybody stayed home. And we're so lucky with IT, you can do everything remotely. I'm permanently actually work from home.
Okay.
So I never go into an office.
From day one, you've always been.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
You love that over going to an office every day?
I do.
Okay.
I do. It takes a little bit of getting used to in the beginning, but you realize that, again, it's about adaptability, right? How do you get used to a different situation? For me, it works because it gives me the opportunity to drop my children to school, right? And to support them or pick them up if I need to. So it gives me a lot of flexibility. It does also sometimes make you work more.
Right.
Because your computer is right there in front of you. Your laptop is right there. And you have to be very disciplined to not get carried away. So oftentimes I'll drop the children, I'll do my work. At the end of the workday, I take care of some stuff, but my computer's still on. And so I go back and you work late into the night. So you have to learn to manage that and balance it a little bit. For some people, working from home doesn't work.
Very true.
In my company, they're actually trying to get some people to come back and do a little bit of a hybrid model. But during COVID, because there was so much work to do, we did do a lot of hiring. And at that time, back to our previous conversation on, are you able to find talent? At that time, it was very difficult to find the right people for the roles. So we were hiring just across the US. And so now the teams are very, very dispersed. So yeah, it works.
What do you see the future of IT? Do you, like the Jetsons, the cars are flying outside your house, the time machine? I'm going to step in a time machine and they're going to bring me forward or backwards, because technology has changed tremendously.
Yeah.
From even for the past 10 years. I mean, every few months something is updated. Yeah. So what do you really see technology going like?
Yeah, it's constantly changing. Well, when I first started 20 years ago, people were just really focused on e-commerce websites, just very basic transactional websites. How do I place an order? How do I buy something online? How do I manage a cart and sessions? And it was, I want to say it was a little bit less complicated, but it was chaotic at that time. And leapfrog 20 years later, we're talking about AI, artificial intelligence, machine learning. You have tools like ChatGPT that can spit out a business plan for you. And you can ask it to try again, and it gives you options. So, I don't know. I don't know where it's going to take us. It's endless, right? My grandfather always used to say, IT is like an ocean. You can't see the end of it, and the depths are just too much for us to comprehend, and it's true. We just have to be socially responsible with whatever it is that we build. And we want to make sure that the tools that we give people, have some sort of control, right, around it, because we don't want it to get out of control.
So, like, do good with it.
Yes, and be socially responsible. So, yeah, I don't know. It can. So I don't know about Jetsons and all that kind of stuff.
No, not the Jetsons. If you don't know about the Jetsons is a cartoon, but that was probably
futuristic.
15 years ago. It was a TV.
They had flying cars.
Flying cars, but cars are flying now. It's not legal yet, but they're self-driving cars. What about time machine? Do you see us?
I don't know about time machine.
No.
You gotta talk to my husband about space time and
Right.
travel. That's his area. But
Okay.
yeah, no, I don't foresee that.
You don't
At least
foresee
not,
that?
At least not in
Not
our
your
lifetime.
time.
Not in our time.
Although there's the halogens now where like somebody pop up from a light. So
That's crazy. Yeah. But it's exciting, and again, it's such a vast field and there's so much opportunity out there that, it's a good area to get into.
So the young listeners out there, as Carla said, IT is an exciting world, very diverse. So take notes. It's not just at the desk or with computers. So there's a lot behind the scenes happening.
Yeah.
What do you love most about what you do as a leader?
Yeah. Well, like I said, I love healthcare. I love delivering
Strictly
tools.
health, okay.
Yeah, I love delivering tools for customers. Just because it's something real and it's something that impacts all of us. We all have our story of why we're here and
Definitely.
your story. But I really enjoy actually the leadership aspect, growing teams, growing organizations, mentoring. The engineering leadership program that I talked to you about was so much fun to do for me because it helps colleagues and people, transform how they think, and it helps them to grow and be a different version of themselves. And so I really find that to be the most interesting and the most fun part of my job. I'm lucky to work with great people. Uh, so it's fun.
And how long is the program for leadership?
The actual program for each cohort is about 6 months. We're
6
actually
months.
thinking about shortening it.
Okay.
But it's a 6-month program.
6 months.
While they're working, by the way. So it's additive to their day-to-day job. It's just
Right.
extra hours, extra training, speakers. We provide mentorship. So we pair them up with mentors across the organization. And we do a project. So they get hands-on real-life experience working as a leader.
In the morning when you wake up, you get that excitement of like, yes, let's go seize the day.
For the most part.
I can't wait to meet my team because even kids or adults who's listening sometimes struggle in the mornings. And how do you, like, for example, a brilliant question. You're a leader. Some staff could be in a funk one day and they're not motivated. It happens. We're human beings.
Sure.
As a leader, how do you put a spark or enlighten that team member that on your team?
Yeah. Well, you just bring the human factor, right? I know how it feels. I don't wake up every day super excited to rock and roll, but I change my mind shift, right? And I try and get myself into that place. So I know how they feel. Sometimes it's okay, and you just need to take some time to regroup. But really, I talk to them about what's exciting about what we do, and that we're changing people's lives, and that what we do matters, right? We're not just sitting there typing up documents all day long. We're delivering for people and we're helping them on a path to better health. So, maybe I give them a joke or two, or crack some stories, have some conversation. And yeah, people normally just, get back into it. So.
And do you have a personal mantra? Because as a leader, there's lots of skills they use to communicate. Do you have a personal mantra or something like, I believe, or yes, I can, or something that you...
Yeah, I mean, just, we can do it, right? You can, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're correct. And that's a Henry Ford quote.
Very true.
It's really all in your mindset. And so if you think you can do something and you think you can conquer it, you can. If you think you can't, that's what you're telling yourself.
Very true.
So it's all in.
I love it. It's all in. I love it. Viewers, about to wrap up shortly. Any questions as a time, and any last words for the viewers, for kids who, or for anybody listening who wants to go in the IT field? Tell them something from your heart to inspire them and encourage them to.
Yeah. No, I mean, look, if you're interested in IT, you're interested in learning about new things and constant change, and to be part of exciting product deliveries or projects, definitely IT is for you. Give it a shot. Try it. I recommend that you learn and educate yourselves, right? You don't just jump into it and say, all right, I'm going to go start coding. Know your craft. understand it, and follow your passion, believe in yourself, and give it a shot, because why not?
Fantastic. You heard it. Follow your passion, believe in yourself, from our very wise executive director, Carla. Thank you. Thank you for being there, vibing with Mr. Marvelous. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
Viewers, thank you. And remember, be marvelous. See you next week.